Well, welcome to this week's podcast. I just want to start with how absolutely gorgeous the weather is in the UK at the moment. We generally are not used to it being nice and sunny, but oh my goodness, this spring has just been so delightful. And today there's clear blue skies, the sun is shining, and I know doing what I do that the weather doesn't make us feel our emotions, but my goodness, is it just gorgeous to have the sun shining? And one of the things that I really love to do, especially when the weather is like this, is I like to find myself a little sunny spot in my garden. And I like to either spend some time reading or I like to sit and just be. Just listen to the birds. Just watch the trees blowing around. And what I've realized is that's a skill. That ability to be able to switch off is a skill that not many of us have learnt how to do or practice. So today I wanted to talk to you about the real reason why you can't switch off. And it's inspired by this need in me to go and sit in my garden and switch off, even if it's just 5 minutes. So I want you to just to picture that scene a minute where like you get up and you start your morning and you're straight into the first thing, which is probably doing something for someone else, or it's I've got to get my run in, or I've got to get this done before everybody wakes up. And so you're instantly rushing from one thing to the next. And that's how your day goes all the way until you finally sit down at like 9 o'clock and you're like, whoo, children in bed, this is my time. But you really struggle to switch off because your brain is still whirring around with, but there's this to do, there's this to do, there's this to do. And so then we kind of get into this feeling that we're really bad at time management. But this isn't a time management problem. What's actually happening is your brain and your nervous system. So, time management might be able to help. Like, if you are actually not giving yourself enough time to do the tasks that you need to do in your day, yes, maybe we need to talk about time management. And I've got a really brilliant episode. So, go back and listen to the episode right back at the beginning on time management. But if you just have this sense of I can't sit still, I can't switch off, I really want you to consider that for a minute that actually the real reason that you can't switch off is it's a couple of things actually. The first one is the fact that you have a primal brain, and that primitive part of our brain is designed to keep us safe. And when we sit still, we have this sudden thought, I should be doing something. I should be doing something. Our primitive brain and the cells of our body get used to that rushing feeling. It actually gets addicted to the overwhelm. If you want to learn more about that, Dr. Joe Dispenza is brilliant to look up. Google him, but he talks about how the cells of our body become addicted to the emotion that we feel the most often. So if you're constantly rushing, if you're constantly overwhelmed, and if you're constantly at that low level of anxiety, the cells of your body actually get not only used to it, but addicted to it. And then your primal brain literally thinks, we're not dead, therefore this emotion must be fine. So then that kind of rest is really uncomfortable because it's like, hang on a minute, we're not used to not rushing, we're not used to not feeling overwhelmed, we're not used to feeling guilt, like not feeling guilty. Let's suck ourselves back and self-sabotage ourselves. And also what happens is when you stop, all of the uncomfortable emotions come up to the surface. The guilt, the restlessness, the not good enoughs, the um, oh my God, did I actually say that to that person? That overthinking starts to kick in because now all of a sudden we're not distracting ourselves with being busy. But here's the thing, you are not broken. You're just not used to resting. This is the most brilliant news. And there's a lot of research coming out now around how resting, calming your, like being still is when we heal. It's heal as in, physically and emotionally heal from our whatever traumas or illnesses we've experienced. That's the time we heal. And fascinatingly enough, it's research has also shown that that's when we learn. So if you've learned a new skill and you've got to that point of frustration, which is happens in all whenever we're learning anything new, because the brain is literally rewiring. Rest is an absolute vital part of that process because what happens, and I can't remember the book that talks about it, but the brain actually re-watches that skill backwards. They don't actually understand why it does it backwards, but that is the point at which the learning actually cements down. So this isn't just vital for your physical and mental well-being. If you're learning something or you're studying something, rest is essential. It's not a nice to have. It's not even a need to have. It is an actual essential skill that is going to enable you to become the best version of yourself, whether you're learning something new, whether you just want to stop snapping at your kids, whether you just want to get more emotional resilient, or basically you're just fucking knackered and you just want to rest. So that's the real reason why you can't switch off is because your primitive brain literally thinks the emotions that you've been experiencing aren't going to kill you, therefore they're fine, and your body becomes addicted to that emotion. That stillness triggers the discomfort and brings up all the thoughts that you haven't been addressing, and that's not a sign that you're broken. It's just a sign that you're not used to resting. So this is totally normal. And I'm going to give you three really practical tips that you can take away and use to help you in your resting journey. Are you ready? This might be one of those episodes that you want to come back to. Like listen to it all the way through if you're driving, if you're out on the dog walk, if you're cooking tea, and then give yourself permission. Actually, schedule in time to come back and listen to it whilst you're taking notes. And then don't just take notes, actually put that action into your calendar to do. Because listening to me, yes, hopefully it's lovely for you. I love doing it. I hope you love listening to it. But listening to this is not going to be what makes a difference. You going away and taking and actively practicing what the tips I teach you is what makes the difference. So, my first tip for you is to name the emotion that you're avoiding. So, let me explain what I mean by that. I want you to imagine that there's a part of you that knows you need to rest, but at that point, you actually manage to sit down. Or if you're anything like I was and sometimes can be, you put off sitting down. So it looks like, oh, I'll just go and do that, or I'll just go and do that, or I'll just go and do this, or I'll just finish off that, and I'll just go and do that. And then before you know it, that time that you had allocated is now gone. That this is an avoidance. This is your brain just being really clever and avoiding stopping because something will probably come up. So when you schedule in your time to rest and name the emotion that you're avoiding. So the most common ones that I hear are guilt, anxiety, and boredom. So just acknowledge it. Like what am I trying not to feel right now? In keeping busy, what am I trying not to feel? And just naming it takes away the strength of it. It softens it a little bit. It just takes the edge off it. Oh, this is guilt coming up. I'm trying to avoid anxiety, or I just don't want to feel bored. So when you label it, it takes the edge off of that emotion, which and hopefully when you go, if you haven't already, go back and listen to previous ones because that teaches you how to actively experience the emotion and let it release you. So resting, the tip number two is resting on purpose. Actually, this probably should be the first one, isn't it? Resting on purpose, as in schedule it like you would a meeting. Put time in your diary as if you're going to meet a friend for lunch. And I know that if you had a meeting with your mate at the pub or for lunch, you would not back out on that meeting. You respect her enough to honor it. And when you put that in your diary, give it a name that resonates with you. So if you are trying to learn something new, give yourself resting for learning, or this is like my recharge time, and then commit to that time, even if you don't feel like it. And start small. Don't just go with, oh, I'm going to have the whole day to sit and do nothing. Start with 5 minutes. Just start with 5 minutes and get used to feeling the safety of stopping for 5 minutes. It will be uncomfortable because you've got this I should be doing something belief. So it will feel uncomfortable, but knowing the reason why you're doing it and the benefits of why you're doing it can outweigh your reason for not doing it. And when you put it in your diary and you commit to it, that just then calms the mind down. When you are rushing from one thing to the next, you could be like, it's fine because it's 6 o'clock. I'm just going to sit down just for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. That is my time. That is time for me to be with my brain. Because the other thing, talking about the emotions that are going to come up, all the thoughts that are going to come up. And if you haven't started the habit of learning that what you hear in your head isn't true, that's going to be an uncomfortable process because you're going to think that what your brain's telling you is true. But if you have been following me for a while, I'm hoping that you're starting to learn that your thoughts are not facts. And it's only society that tell us we should be doing something that makes us feel shit. So it's really about learning that relationship with yourself. And I've got other podcasts on that. So please go back and listen. And another tip that I think is actually a really nice thing to do is to make like almost like a trigger, a cue, um, and give yourself something to do if you need it. So something like, put on two songs that you really love. And for those two songs, you're just going to sit and listen. Maybe burn a candle for 10 minutes and you're just going to sit and watch the flame. Maybe you make yourself your favorite drink. I would suggest non-alcoholic because alcohol numbs your emotions and that's avoidance rather than dealing with them. And just use that time to train your brain that it's safe to stop. It is safe to stop. And if you're doing this in just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it is definitely safe to stop. The world is not going to go to shit if you just take a moment out. So I'm going to go back over those tips. I'm going to rechange them around a little bit. So actually, I'm going to say tip number one is to schedule it like a meeting. Get it in your diary. Start with just 10 minutes and do it even when you don't feel like it. When you're doing it, name the emotions that you're feeling. Whatever comes up for you. Oh, okay, this is guilt. This is boredom. This is anxiety. For some of you, it might even be shame. They are not a problem. They are completely harmless. And then tip number three is to give yourself the couple of songs, give yourself the candle, give yourself the hot drink, whatever you need, but use this as a moment to remind yourself it is safe to stop. That is one of my favorite practices. I literally put my hand on my heart and I tell myself, I am safe to experience this emotion. It is fine. So I really hope that that helps you to start to put in a resting practice. And it's practice. It is, I use the word practice very, very deliberately because it's not a skill that we get taught. It's a skill that you absolutely get to learn. And you actually get to get better at it with practice. That does not mean that you are being lazy. Please reassure yourself that taking time to rest is actively benefiting your health, your physical health, your mental health, and especially if you're learning, your learning health. So that's not being lazy. And just try experimenting with this. Do it just like commit to doing it just once this week. Just 10 minutes of doing nothing other than watching a candle, listening to a song, or just focusing on a drink. And I would love to hear how this goes for you. If you take this away and practice it, your brain, that primitive part of your brain might be thinking, "Oh my God, my life, I literally will die if I stop." Just find that amusing. But I would really love to hear from you about how this goes. So send me a message on Instagram, send me a message on LinkedIn, whatever your preferred method is. Send me an email if you want to. Write in the comments of the post or the YouTube channel. I would love to hear how this works for you and your experience of it. It's going to be uncomfortable to begin with, but the benefits of learning how to rest are huge. And you know this deep down. You know that when you're rested, you are such a better mum, such a better friend, such a better leader in all the areas of your life. So it's about tapping into that intuition and that deep knowing that you have and moving forward and learning the skill of resting. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions and I will speak to you next week. Mwah. Take care. Bye.